Hey y'all, welcome to Humming Catfish. Today we're going to be making a plantain salve. So grab your basket, put on your boots, and let's go.
Well, I lay down last night.
Now before we start, I just want to say that this video is not focused on identifying plantain. I highly recommend that you dig deeper on identifying any plant that you're going to be using. Here's what you're going to need today. Plantain, beeswax, and a carrier oil. Why use plantain? It was considered by the Anglo-Saxons to be one of 9 sacred herbs. They called it the mother of all herbs. It's good for scrapes, bruises, cuts, bug bites, poison ivy, any kind of skin irritation that you're going to have. This really helps heal it. It has antioxidants, anti-inflammatory. I mean, it's basically your go-to. And you don't even need to prepare it to use it. Like say you're out in your yard like I am and all of a sudden you get like stung by a bee. Oh my gosh. Find you a plantain leaf. Ooh, look at that. Make sure you got all the bugs off unless you need the protein. Give it a little chew. Once you got it chewed up like that, then put it on your bug bite. Oh, I've been bit. Ah, that feels better. Another nice thing about plantain, it's really easy to find. Kind of grows everywhere. You're probably going to find it in your yard unless you're spraying chemicals, in which case if you do find it, maybe don't use that. It's going to grow in open sunny places where the soil's been disturbed, cracks in sidewalks. If it can find a spot to grow that it likes, it's going to grow. There are 3 main types of plantain that grows in the U.S. Plantago majora, which is the broadleaf plantain. Plantago lanceolata, I love that name, which is the lance leaf plantain, and Plantago rugelli, and that is the black-seeded plantain. Let's go find a nice cluster that hasn't been run over by Grimm and inspect it. The plantain leaves are kind of leathery feeling. They have ribs that run the length of each leaf. The ribs are more visible on the back side of the leaf. They have a tall central flower stalk. And the stems have fibrous strands that are easy to see when the stem is pulled apart. They're even easier to see when the camera's in focus. All right, so I'm gonna get to picking. I just heard the first rumble of thunder, so I think we're gonna take what we got and head back. All right, we are back in the kitchen and I'm gonna get our plantain leaves ready for drying. First, I'm gonna give them a nice little rinse. I'm gonna give them a spin in the salad spinner to remove any excess water. Then I'm gonna pat them dry. All right, now we can talk about drying method. I'm going to be using a dehydrator set probably around 100, 105. You can use your oven. I would put it at the lowest setting, maybe leave the door cracked a little bit because we don't want these to heat up to the point where some of the benefits of it are cooked. So I'm going to put these in the dehydrator, 100, 105. It's probably going to take 6 hours maybe, I'm guessing, which means I guess I got time to clean the house. I didn't want to have that time, but see y'all later. Okay, the leaves are dry. It actually took a little bit closer to 7 hours. You can see they're crumbling up nice into the jar without turning into a powder. Like some of the leaf structure's still actually there while being dry. So I'm gonna get these crumbled up into a jar and then we'll see what we got. Now that we have our dried plantain leaves in here, it's time to pick your carrier oil. Now, I wanted to originally use castor bean, and when I checked it, I did not have enough. So I'm going to be using olive oil. Now, this is the part where you could get technical. In usually dried herbs, you're going to do a 5-to-1, meaning 1 part dried herb, 5 parts olive oil. But I'm just gonna fill it until the plantains are covered with oil. So now's the time where you have to make a second decision. If you want to do a slow method, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. You would put this in a cabinet somewhere dark, put a cap on it, of course, and once a day shake it and just let time and everything pull, like extract everything out of the plantain leaves. But I'm actually going to do a quick method today, and that is where you warm it up, but you can't set this directly on like a heat source because it's going to start burning the oil. It's not going to be good. So you'd want to kind of do either like a double boiler or my fancy double boiler, which is my salve making pan with 3 of these. So I put those in there, put 3 of them in there, and then I'm going to put water in here, and then this is going to set on here. So the lids actually create a barrier, and you know, water and everything can still get through there. Let me get some water in here and we'll keep going. All right, I'm going to put this on a medium heat. Set that on there. I put too much water in. All right, let's try this. There we go. All right, so that is gonna heat up slowly. We just want the oil to get warm. I'm gonna let that go for probably 2 hours, so I'll see y'all later. All right, our oil and plantain leaves have warmed up. They were in there 2.5 hours actually, and I let it cool down so I can work with it. Now we're gonna strain out the plantain leaves so that all we have left is the oil. So I'm gonna take another jar and a piece of a cotton flour sack towel, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do here. All right, so just have it like that. Put that on there, kind of push it in like that, and then I'm gonna see if I can use the lid, kind of hold it. That'll work. All right, now I'm gonna pour. Oh, it's beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna take this off. I need a little more room. I can get all this in there so I can give it a good squeeze. All right, now we're gonna weigh how many grams, or however you want to weigh it or measure it, of the plantain oil that we have. Because for a good salve, I would do a 1-to-4 ratio with the beeswax and the herbal infused oil. That makes a nice salve that's, you know, a little thick but not chunky. So it's going to be a 1-to-4. So that's 4 parts of the oil and 1 part beeswax. So however you need to measure or weigh that, I'm just going to use a jar just like the one it's in and zero that out. See what we got. All right, so I have 210 grams. So do some math. Hang on. All right, so that's going to be 53 grams of beeswax that I'm going to add to this. Now I'm going to measure the beeswax into a separate container because I've done it before where I'm like, oh, I'll just put it right in without measuring it first, and I put too much in. And yeah, once you got too much beeswax in there, all you can do is add 4 times the amount of oil, and it kind of messes everything up. So let me get this measured out, and I'll see you in a sec. Okay, I have the 52 grams of beeswax that I'm going to add to the oil. Let me just put this up here so you can see it. Okay, now we're gonna add this back into our water that has whatever kind of system that you're using so that this container isn't sitting directly on a heat element. It's gonna have water in between it and the element. So let's get this back on there and get it melted. All right, before you start pouring, make sure you wipe all the water off your container because you don't want any of that getting into your whatever you're gonna be pouring into. All right, we're gonna let these cool down, and actually probably in the morning, I'm gonna check them and I'll show y'all what we got. Well, here we are at the next day. Actually, it's 2 days later, but look at what we got. That color, I'm loving that color. And it's got a nice texture to it. It's not too goopy, but it definitely spreads easy. It's got like a nice fresh kind of smell. I smell the olive oil. I like it. I like it. Well, that's all I got for y'all this week. I really appreciate you watching this video. And if you like what I'm doing, I surely would appreciate if you hit the like button. And if you really like what I'm doing, I'd appreciate if you considered subscribing. So until next time, I'll see y'all later.